Welcome to Horror Makes Us Happy, the podcast where we ask the question, what is it about horror that makes us happy? Your hosts are Steve Becker and myself, Chris Whitman. And you can find out more about us at our website, horrormakesushappy.com. We also have a link tree there with all kinds of other links to other things. Just go to the website. It's a very easy website to remember. Before we get started, this is the trigger warning. This is a horror podcast. We talk about horror things. So we have to do a disclaimer of sorts because we could delve into sensitive subjects such as abuse, physical, and or other. Might talk about bad things. It's not guaranteed, though. It's just
if you don't like it, go away.
Yeah, go away. We talk about bad stuff here. In a fun way. That being said, another thing before we get started, also, we do want to thank our Patreon supporters. Steve and I have both lived paycheck to paycheck, so we know and definitely appreciate how meaningful it can be, even to offer $1 here or there. But that being said, Patreon also offers a free tier, so even if you can't afford anything, it's always nice to just,
follow,
support, follow,
yes,
share, like subscribe, all the social buzzwords.
All the stuff that I hate to say that we have to do, but we have to do.
No. If you don't want us to say this so much, you could support us more so we don't have to do it. But yeah, see, that's how it goes. It's a cycle.
But
anywho, with all the preliminaries out of the way, Steve, what do we got coming up in the near future?
Let's see. Next month, I'm going to be going to AuthorCon, which is the Scares the Care convention. I think that's in Virginia. We are coming up on our 5th anniversary, and as some of you may have heard us talk about on the podcast in the past, what we've done is gathered autographs from as many of our former guests as we could on a shirt that has our logo. We're going to hand that off to Scares the Care so that they can auction. Try that again. So they can auction that off with for the charity. Scares the Care, for those who don't know, is a horror-themed charity that benefits burn victims, cancer patients, and horror authors in need. And so going to be going out there to hand that shirt off to them and hopefully get a couple more autographs too, because there's a couple guests that will be there as I can't think of the right word. Anyway, we've got 3 events weekly on our Discord server. We are approaching 500 users on the Discord server. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Link to that is on the Linktree page, which is linked to from horrormakeshappy.com. So if you want to join us on Discord, go there. Today, we are talking to Viidith22, a YouTube personality, I guess. I didn't want to say streamer because I don't think you do it live, right? It's no,
not anymore. I used to back in the day, but now it's just more so pre-recorded, and I got to make it all polished up and seem nice.
Oh yeah.
So you've got a YouTube channel, basically telling horror stories, creepy stories, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, simple summary.
Oh yeah.
Before we get into the meat of the interview, you want to let people know what you're currently working on?
Yeah. So currently, I have 2 of the 3 flagship series have new continuations from Trail of the Vampire and Threshold of Evil. Both have new continuations. Threshold of Evil being the new spin-off rerun of the series that they're doing with a lot more horror and fun stuff for James Caligo and all of his work. So it'll be fun. I'm excited for those long stories.
Okay. We're going to put together a bio page for you on our website, so we can link to your page there, and any other socials you want us to link to, we'll get together with you offline, get the links, and put them all there.
Perfect.
The theme of the interview, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through your love of the genre from childhood through adulthood, and then at the end we'll wrap up and talking about any common themes that have cropped up at multiple points in the call. That said, it's not meant to be a therapy session, so if there's anything that you don't want to answer, you just say pass and we'll move on. Sure. But starting with childhood, what are some of your earliest memories of scary things?
Oh, well, one of the first things that pops up immediately is Alien.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The movie in itself, one of my first ever horror movie I've seen, one of my favorites of all time. Got into my love for body horror and ambient horror and how audio can be implemented into film and other mediums. It's just one of those things that was just a staple for me. I was like, wow, that's an incredible standard for me. And that's something that really stuck with me for a long time.
Okay. Sets the bar high. How old were you when you saw Alien?
I think I got to say like 7 or 8.
Okay.
Something around, pretty young. So around that age. Okay. And from there, I just went Alien to The Thing, and which is another old school classic. More body horror. I think I just fell into body horror, really.
Okay.
That was just one of those things that just stuck with me for so long.
Starting to notice a trend. Yes, with the body horror. Not a bad trend.
Right.
But it's just one of those things.
So Alien, The Thing, anything else jump out to you from childhood?
When I was a little bit older and like teenagers, that you remember the old school ARGs and things on YouTube and I guess Twitter and Facebook and around that area. It's essentially a little video documentary of a world that doesn't exist, but that they portray that it exists. One of the most famous ones is I think it's called The Sun Disappeared or The Sun Vanished. It was a account that somebody made it built it up from the ground and came out of nowhere, and he used his understanding of practical effects and of visual effects and of, I guess, I don't know what knowledge he was in, but he was very good at what he did for filmmaking. He made it seem like through his posts and through videos that there was no sun in the sky during day or night when he was filming outside or inside or whatever it was. And he would add audio cues and he would add lore to it and just build on this with creatures in this world that he was in and trying to stay in character. And it was something that really drew me into it. Because it wasn't really seen back in the day. It was one of the first ARGs, if I remember right. That just kind of.
This is the first time I think I've heard the term ARG in this usage. Do you remember what it stands for?
I do not.
Alternate reality, I'm guessing.
Altered reality.
I'm sorry. It was. Something along those lines. I've heard the term before, but I cannot remember what it is right now.
Okay. I'm amused by the phrase that you said, "No sun in the sky, day or night."
Yeah.
How exactly did you define?
You're right.
Well, that just means there's no moon either, because the moon reflects the sunlight, and then what about vampires?
Oh yeah, exactly.
No werewolves, at least.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
That is an interesting premise, though. It almost sounds like a precursor or an ancestor to things like creepypasta or like SCP.
Oh yeah, and that's also I definitely would think it be more in the vein of SCP for sure. Mm-hmm. It was just, oh my gosh, man, it was one of those things that was people got stuck on it and the comments were like, oh yeah, this is fake, whatever, and then there's people who are detractors in it, but people got so hooked on this lore they were waiting for them to post, and they would wait like 1, 2, 3 months in real time to add to this lore and to make sure it was meaningful. It's just incredible. It's just one of my favorite things, but I don't know, that kind of thing stuck with me, and that's bled into my intros and stuff now because I love the idea of it.
It's similar to some of the there's 2 authors that I follow on Reddit actually that they post serials, chapter at a time, and it's funny, one of them did 3 books, and actually we've interviewed both of them. They were some of our first interviews when we started this podcast. Mm-hmm. One of them wrote 3 novels and has gone on hiatus like 5 chapters from the end of the 3rd novel, which will be the end of the trilogy.
Pull a little George R.R. Martin there. Yep.
Yeah. Well, she's got reasons for that. Had some.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Traumatic brain injury from a fall.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been keeping in touch with them, and they're doing what they can. They're also working through. I can't remember if it's a master's or a PhD program, so they've definitely got their hands full.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so Alien, The Thing. You mentioned this ARG was more towards teenage years. You mentioned Alien being sort of like this watershed moment. A lot of our guests have talked about there being this dividing line, like a watershed moment for them, where prior to that line, they were actually afraid of horror, and then after the line, they started to enjoy it. Was there anything that you remember before Alien that actually did scare you?
I guess before Alien, the only thing I could think of was what was it called? I think it was They Live.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that was one that I think it was. I don't know what it was. I think it was it was probably the acting and just some of the audio cues. I was like, that's it's something I never heard before, because before that I was just comedy or popcorn flick or whatever it was, and so it was really something that just kind of. I was like, oh, this is that felt weird. I'm not. I don't know if I'm about this. And it was something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Continue.
I don't know. It really got to me. There was that. It kept that feeling in my chest of like, okay, I'm afraid of this. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You'd also mentioned The Thing. What'd you like about that?
Oh, just the practical effects themselves. Just incredible. Yeah. The scene with the dog definitely stuck with me as well, or with the husky. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna. I don't know if there's spoilers or if but
It's an old movie.
It's old, but the scene with the husky definitely stuck with me, and just oh my gosh, the way that they built those practical effects just makes it look so visceral and disgusting, and it's so great. Right. It really stuck with me after, and I watched the remake. It was not the same, man.
Well, it's because they did go with practical initially, but producers and whatnot were like, no, the kids like CG nowadays.
Yeah, like whatever, man. No, I heard about that. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, nothing we can do about it now. Did you participate in Halloween as a kid?
Oh, definitely, all the time. I did a costume. Oh God. Let's see. I mean, I did a zombie one year. Oh no, actually no. Yeah, there was a zombie one year, and then there was a. When I was a little bit older, there was a American Horror Story, and there was one of the many seasons that they're doing. But there was some dude with a pig mask that was on, and that was one of the things that I rocked with, was just that kind of aesthetic. But we got all the fake blood stuff going on, and a little axe prop, and it was just some fun.
And here I thought you were going to say you went with the gimp suit.
Not in childhood, I would hope.
So yeah,
that's right. We're still in childhood. Never mind. We did the disclaimer. All right, we can talk about stupid shit like that and make terrible faux pas.
Oh yeah, man. It's a couple of those things. Yeah, and I never did do the ghost with sheet thing, but I mean, I don't know. I like the whole dress up thing, and the makeup was real fun. It seemed like, trying to, come into your own of being somebody else and that kind of thing.
Did you have a least favorite costume as a child?
God. I guess not dressing up as a child, because there are a few times that I just didn't do it. I was like, wow, this kind of sucks. It's just, not really my thing. I don't know. I like doing that stuff.
Didn't go out trick-or-treating? Because, you can't go out trick-or-treating without a costume.
Well, so I did, but the thing is, I got brothers, and they were, we were all wanting to go, so we all went.
I mean, actually, now that I think of it, that does totally happen in my house. Some years you get the whole family, and then there's the youngest of the children, and you're like, "What's your costume?" They're like, he doesn't have one. Just give him the candy. Right. Yeah. All right, he's 6. I'll buy it. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Was anybody else in your family a fan of horror when you were a kid?
No, no.
Okay.
My family was very against. They didn't do that kind of stuff. They didn't do horror. They didn't really like it. Very, oh, that's scary. So it's it's bad. Turn it off, type thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It was just one of those things. I was like, it kept me sucked to it, because it was just something it was a feeling that was different than just a comedy movie of laughing. I like the purity of vulnerability in horror. And I love that. I love that, the senses that you get from whenever you're either listening to something scary, or you see a scary horror movie, or you have that feeling of you're very small and powerless. That's incredible to me, that media can do that.
Did you have any really scary dreams or reoccurring nightmares when you were a kid?
I did, actually. I had, because way back in the day, I used to have night terrors, and something that would come up a lot would be it would be sort of a black figure that would be either in my closet or around around the door to my room. Mm-hmm. And it would always be, that would be reoccurring.
Okay.
The tall man.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything else in the dream, or just the fact that they were there?
It was more so the fact that they were there. But just the feeling of, okay, something's going to happen. But it just, it would never escalate from that.
Okay. Was there ever a time in your childhood when you were terrified of something in real life?
So I have 2 fears, and one of them is needles, and the other one's heights. But I remember when I was a kid, one of the first times it was just like my body would not let me do something. I don't remember what it was, but I had to get some kind of, I think I had to get a shot or something like that, and it was just I just couldn't get past that mental barrier, and I ended up doing it, but it was just after a whole bunch of guffawing and freaking out and all that stuff, but it ended up working. But it was just one of those things. I don't know. Yeah, that was something that stuck to me from when I was a kid. It was just needles got to me, and I'm pretty sure that was because of Hostel or something similar to it.
Or was it Saw 2 or 3? I think. Yeah, the pits.
It had to be something like that, man. Oh yeah, the pit. Oh yeah. No, yeah, it had to be something like that.
One other thing popped into my mind when you mentioned having a fear of needles, because I just recently watched it again the other day. Have you seen Babysitter with Samara Weaving?
I've not. I've wanted to, but I never gotten around to it.
It's really good. It's a good slapstick slasher fun comedy time. And this isn't much of a spoiler because it's like the first 30 seconds of the movie. But the main character opens up at a doctor's office, just screaming bloody murder because he's got to get a shot.
What movie was that?
Babysitter.
Interesting.
So
I'll keep that in mind.
Potentially tied Hostel, Saw, The Pit with this fear of needles. However, did you I hesitate to say that, did you actually see Saw and Hostel young enough for that to have potentially affected your fear of needles?
Maybe. Hostel, definitely not. But Saw was one of those things where it was, my brothers and I all got very locked into that one, and we got we were aware of it. One of my brothers got really, really into it for I don't want to know. I don't know, but it's just his thing. But we watched it when we were really young, and we were trying to. At one point, we tried to recreate one of the sques when we were kids, which it wasn't.
Let's just do the darndest things, don't they?
We'd done the from the first one near the end with the foot in the bathtub thing where he has to. They were using the saw to try to get the thing off, and it looked like crap, and it was we were kids, we don't know, but it was just one of those things we tried to emulate that, so it would make me think that it was enough to leave an impression from that. Of course, it wasn't. We got found out, and that was a problem. But it was just one of those things that it stuck with us when we were kids. At least it stuck with me. I don't know if they care anymore, but it's something that was just that stuck with me for a while. So I would think it would be young enough. I think it was. Oh my gosh, I would have to say like 9. Okay, I had some around that area. It had to be.
All right. You had said that you didn't have anybody else in your family who were fans of horror, but you said you had a brother who kind of got into the Saw movies.
Oh yeah, he got into the Saw movies, but it was more so from the kills themselves. And more like the lore, like diving into Wikipedia and stuff like that, and trying to read synopsis and summaries of it.
Okay, yeah, he was more interested in the thriller and mystery of it rather than the gore.
Yeah, it was less the gore and the horror and screaming and terror and all that stuff. It was more like, I guess, getting into like what it's all about, or like the lore, if you can call it that, with Kramer and everything.
There is lore, people cutting their own foot off aside. It does have a bit of intrigue to it.
Oh yeah.
Why would you do such a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, there's the intrigue. Why?
Yeah.
Because I can't cut through the chain, stupid.
Right. Flipping that last question around, was there ever a time in your childhood when you felt completely calm or safe or at bliss?
Yeah, I guess funny enough, kids are usually afraid of, like, I guess the dark in general, but I find peace in that. In just like sitting in dark, quiet places, it's very calming for me. Mm-hmm. I never really had a fear of the dark in itself. It's something that kept me grounded, and I still do it now. I still do it to this day. But
yeah. Do you remember the first person you hurt?
First person that I've hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean physically?
Physically or emotionally?
Either one.
There was a kid that was picking on my brother at one point. We were in the YMCA, so this little swimming place, and I don't remember what it was, but he was doing something. He was being a jerk to my brother, and I hit him in the nose. That's what I can think of. I mean, he stopped doing it. He's being a dick, but whatever. That's the only thing I can think of, I guess. Do what?
Was it your older brother, younger brother?
So I have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
He was the middle one. Because I'm the child, I'm the baby of the family. We're all triplets actually, but
you could get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you triplets?
Yes, we are triplets.
So this is your minutes older brother, then I guess.
Yes, he is 1 minute older, and the oldest one is 2 minutes older.
Well, then it doesn't really count to what I was saying about getting away with it in terms of like being the baby of the family.
Yeah, well,
are you identical twins?
No, thank God. No, we're all fraternal.
Oh, okay. You never know.
Avoid that whole mess. No, thank you.
It'd be funny to mess with people. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So, I guess for point of clarification, then, Okay, no, you did say triplets. So all three of you were born at the same time. It wasn't like one and then the other two is twins.
No, yeah, we were all C-section. We were all at the same time.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is impressive.
That is.
My mom did good. Yeah,
I was just about to say, feel for your mom. Okay, flipping that last question around again. Do you remember the first person you helped?
Probably my brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
My middle brother, because he was. Oh, what was it? I don't even remember what we were doing.
I mean, technically, you helped him when you fought the bully. So
yeah, that was technically help.
Let's see. I think that was all the childhood section. All right, so moving into teen years, you mentioned the ARG. Anything else really stand out to you from your teen years?
God, well, that's kind of where I started getting into no sleep and like creepypasta type things when I was a teen, and also like just poems and Edgar Allan Poe and Frost and all that. And that kind of got into my interest in writing and reading and the creative side of that. A few things that would stick out. There was the whole the massive Jeff the Killer thing and Slender Man lore that was going around way back in the day. And I wouldn't say obsessed with it, but it was it stuck out to me and it was very interesting to me. It was something that I was like, wow, that's an interesting lore. That's something that I could definitely see myself reading.
I somehow actually forgot about Jeff the Killer temporarily.
Oh, dude, it's a whole
I know. Thing. It is a whole thing. It is for sure.
Man.
I don't think I've heard of this one. What is this?
You've seen him. It's a very creepy smiling face.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, I went to Google.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's a very iconic story from. Oh my gosh, and it was rewritten, and I don't even know where it is anymore. But I know there's like lore and like verses and different other lores mixing with it now, and it's wild, man. It's gotten so far. It's crazy.
Right. I wonder how the original creator of it feels now with it being like just so evolved.
I don't know. Because sometimes you can take it as either, taking it in stride and be like, that's super cool. My stuff is being, shown to all these people, or it would be, oh shit, I didn't mean for this to happen.
What have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like we talked to Trevor Henderson, who was the creator of Siren Head, and he's enjoying it because, it's just the more it grows, the more attention it brings to his other work. And, it's a beneficial thing.
Oh, good. Very cool. I remember Siren Head. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
He didn't forget about you.
All right. So anything stand out from No Sleep?
One of the ones I could think of was, well, so more so from the, I guess, I think this was from one of the creepypasta subreddits. Okay. They blur together when I don't remember when I was a kid. One of them was Mr. Widemouth, which is one that was like an old school one, which was essentially, spoilers if everybody hasn't read it, but it's like 15 years old by now. Basically, there's a kid who sees this entity outside of his window, his second story window, and the entity is telling him, "Yeah, go ahead and jump. There's a trampoline at the bottom." And the kid says no, and the entity walks off into the forest. And later on, at the end of it, he's way older now. He goes back to his old childhood home, and he walks to the forest where this entity was in the first place, and he ends up finding child graves in that area, which is in the sense that this entity was kind of like a will-o-wisp or like a siren trying to bring this kid to, I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't know. It's something that stuck with me for a while. I was like, that's crazy to me that it was an interesting way of writing it, because I was more about like the will-o-wisp thing, will of the wisp, however you say it.
Yeah.
For the listeners, basically, we were having some technical difficulties. We may have lost some audio. Picking up from where we left off, I think you had said that you wanted to share something else from the copypasta backlog. Yeah.
So one of the things that I could think of that had more meaning to me, that kind of stuck out to me when I was younger, was, I'm pretty sure it was from the Creepypastas website, which was ritualistic type creepypastas like Three Kings Game and those like it. It grounded me a little bit to it, in the sense that it would give you a list of things that you need to do, like, lock your doors and make sure that ring of salt around you, like candlelight, and whisper this type of name, like, the whole Bloody Mary urban legend thing, that too. It's things like that, and the way that it kind of reaches into like physicality of our world, of like if you do these things and this can happen, like just the mystery to it where it could be real, it stuck out to me as different instead of just hearing like, okay, well, John over here is walking down a creepy alleyway and somebody, something terrible happened.
It's making you participate.
Yeah, it feels like it is like, it's your choice to do this, and it's it's like I'm not going to say choose your own adventure, but it's
yeah, it's involving you in the adventure.
Oh yeah, and it's just that kind of thing is it's so wild to me. I never ended up trying it because I was a kid, and that freaked me out as a kid. But it was just, I don't know. It's something that stuck out to me for a while, which is just getting involved and getting the readers involved is really good.
Yeah. Any Edgar Allan Poe stand out to you?
Oh yeah, well, obviously The Raven.
Right.
That was one of the ones that stuck with me for a while. And I actually did that is now a long deleted video. I did a reading of it a long time ago when I was a teenager. And was Telltale Heart Poe? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, then Telltale Heart as well.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and just somebody losing their mind and just fighting over guilt for that kind of thing is just great.
Yeah. So you mentioned the American Horror Story Pick Mask. I'm guessing that was teen costumes.
Yeah, I believe it was from. That was when I was a little bit older. I believe it was Roanoke. I think I was 17 or something. I was still like 18.
Least favorite costume in teen years?
Oh, just not having a costume.
Okay.
Or I guess when I did would be, I can't even think of anything. I guess a terrible one, like a one thrown together at the last minute.
Right. Recurring nightmares or scary dreams in your teens?
There was one. It's not so much a nightmare, but more of a kind of creepy experience that I had when I was moved out on my own.
Okay.
It was me and one of my good friends and my sister. We were all hanging out at about, 1 or 2 in the morning, where I was working graveyard shifts, and so it didn't matter. We were hanging out, and I was going from the living room to my room, and in between that, there's a dark hallway that leads to the back bedroom, which is where our 4th roommate lived at the time, and the door was open. And so I went to grab something from my room, and I looked, and there was kind of like what it was from dreams when I was a childhood, a dark figure with long hands and fingers that was sitting on the edge of that bed at the very end of that hallway in the bedroom. And when I looked back, when I stopped myself and looked back, it wasn't there. And that stuck with me for a long time. And it just, it freaked me out when I was seeing it, and it stuck with me for a while.
Yeah, something like that will stick with you.
Flipping that question
about the
what's that?
I was gonna say the house in itself was wild because because it was a lease house, we were all pitching in for rent and stuff. When we went into it, one of the first things we noticed was that there were footprints of a child on the ceiling right by the front door of the house.
No, that's not creepy at all. No, that's fine. Nope.
I don't know, that kind of thing's wild. And there was also like melted wax on my carpet that was in my room that I used. The room was fine. I didn't have any issues with it, but it's just weird.
Did the footprints go from the ceiling to the wall and then like around the wall?
It was just on the ceiling, and it just dissipated from there. It was just on the ceiling. I don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe somebody lifted their kid upside down and stuck
I was just about to say, clearly neither of you have lifted a kid above your head.
No, I tried to once, but my sister has fans in her house, and she was like, "Don't do that."
Yeah, I could completely see somebody lifting their kid over their head and sticking their feet on the wall,
like Homer Simpson with Spider Pig.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time in your teens when you felt exceptionally calm or safe or at bliss?
Probably same thing. Just in going back to being in the dark, sitting in my. Then at that point, I ended up using headphones, but it was the same thing. Just kind of silence.
Okay. Rolling into adult years, anything media-wise stand out to you from your adult years in terms of horror?
There's a couple. One of the things that I could think of would be, what was that called? The Void, The Veil.
Was it about a hospital where a cop had to stay there with a perpetrator, and then everybody turned into tentacles?
Yep.
Yeah, that was The
Void. You know what I'm talking about? That's The Void. Okay. It was, that's. I couldn't remember the name of it, but it was. So I love Lovecraftian stuff. I love the just Oh my gosh, it's I don't know if I want to spoil it for people who are listening, but it's a very good movie. It's
being an expert on spoilers myself, I think this is a spoiler, not spoiler. That so many awesome pyramids that were never explained.
Oh yeah. But it's just, it really, I was like, okay, this is going to be a run-of-the-mill horror movie. And then like at about, I'd say 30 minutes in, maybe a little bit less, then I was like, okay, never mind. Okay, cool.
I unfortunately saw a trailer that kind of spoiled a lot of it for me, but I was still in because it was like, this is my jam. But yeah, they do that nowadays. The spoilers divulge like 50 to 75% sometimes of everything.
That is insane. Yeah. Oh, It Follows. Old school. Well, it's not old school. It's the type of tone of like the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, it had a weird retro vibe to it. But one girl clearly had a weird dual screen seashell clamshell cell phone. So it was like, it almost felt like an alternate universe where like maybe technology advanced a little further back in the 80s. Or
maybe. Yeah. The idea of the creature itself is really great too. I love the that it could be anyone at any time, and it's just constant impending danger is great.
Yeah,
that really stuck out.
There's a sequel coming out, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I'm so curious. Oh man.
So let's go back to The Void for a minute. What did you like about The Void?
So obviously the practical effects. The sound design was incredible for that one. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of, how do I put it without saying too much?
How did it make you feel?
So I wasn't really scared of it anymore. I was intrigued. I was locked into the lore.
Okay.
Because I think I've doing this for long enough. I've gotten over and just being involved in horror in general is I've kind of gotten used to the idea of being scared about those types of things, and it's more so I'm intrigued about I'm locked in if it's interesting lore or the creature's cool or the practical effects are incredible or I'm invested. I guess for that, it definitely made me feel I felt intrigue, and I felt like I wanted to sink my teeth into more of it.
That's a good phrase, sink your teeth into it. It Follows. Anything else?
Well, I guess I like that they brought it back to old school simple horror instead of a lot of shock value stuff that was coming out around that time. They brought it back to just when I was mentioning when I was a kid, it's just vulnerability. It's just that you feel powerless and vulnerable without. There's really not much that anyone can do about any of that. Any of the entity in this movie is something that would just have to be dealt with, or I guess try to find a way to escape it. But it's just temporary reprieve.
Okay. Is there maybe a third one that stands out to you? The Void, It Follows. One more.
Well, I was thinking the original Scream.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about Scream at the time, and I watched it way after everybody knew about it, and there was like God knows how many sequels at that point. But because I didn't know the big twist at the end of it, and it really it threw me for a loop. Also, that Matthew Lillard was in it. It's great.
Steve-O.
Yeah. But it's I thought that they subverted expectations very well. That kept me going with that story, but especially from the very beginning, because I can't remember the name of the actress, but they in the marketing they were portraying her as the main final girl, and she ends up I guess spoilers, but it's like a 30-year-old movie at this point.
Right.
She eats it
Drew Barrymore.
10 minutes.
Yeah, it's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. Yes.
You're right. They did that. They totally added her in all the marketing materials and posters and trailers.
They pulled a Psycho.
They did. And
did you not notice that?
No, because kind of the same vine. I hadn't watched Psycho until just recently, and remember I made that faux pas.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, when Janet Leigh died at the end, dude, she died pretty early.
Yeah.
Nope. Have you seen Psycho? No.
Yeah, I forgot that you hadn't seen Psycho until recently.
I've since watched it.
Yes. So in the movie where they are playing with the tropes of the horror movies, yes, they pulled a Psycho.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be more obvious if she was in the shower.
Yes. Let's see. Now, as an adult, favorite costume as an adult? Or do you still participate?
Ironically, now I don't dress up.
Yeah. I mean, that usually happens with teens. Like, you're more into like going out and partying and celebrating, decorating, things like that. Less of the, oh my fucking God, again.
Wait, what? Did you have something on your
Quote
side?
exceeded error. You have run out of free disk space? What?
What?
Well, I still appear to be recording. Does it look good on your end? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it looks
Hold
like
on.
it's recording on this side.
Is that what keeps happening? Is it like... Is it
Have you
trying
been downloading
to record?
the midget porn again?
Yes. Yes, I have. I need all of it.
I need it right now.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He has no power here.
Well, I think this one's going to work. I think we're good this time.
All right, back from more audio or tech, as Chris likes to say, technical. Man, I can't even fucking talk today. What the fuck?
Technological differences.
Thank you.
It's Beef Supreme.
Where the fuck were we? I don't even remember now. You were talking about Scream, subverted expectations. I was teasing Chris about not realizing that they pulled a psycho.
Yeah.
I think I was going to... Oh, I had asked whether or not you participated in Halloween as an adult. You had said no. Next question. Have you had any really scary dreams or reoccurring nightmares as an adult?
No, not
Dealing
to my
with
memory.
technological difficulties?
I knocked on wood.
Yeah, Chris is going to be having nightmares tonight.
No, I don't dream. I smoke pot.
Well, tossing and turning his bed. Have you tried plugging it and unplugging?
No. Go away.
Ever been terrified of something in real life as an adult?
Not that I can think of. Well, never mind. I was on a road trip with a buddy of mine in Colorado, and he was driving down the mountains having a good time, and I was like, I'm gonna kill you, dude. These heights scare the ever living hell out of me.
Yeah.
So I don't think I
Is he
can
like
think
going
of.
through like
Yeah, no, we had driven up there, so it was just, I don't remember. It was from southern Colorado. I have no idea where.
Okay. Was it like switchbacks? Like you look down and it's like a 200-foot vertical drop.
Yep.
Can you maybe go at least like 50 around these corners? No, we gotta get there in time.
Can relate. I was dating a girl that lived in California, and her parents had bought a cabin and some land out in the mountains, and it was like maybe only the second time I had gone out there, and her father asked me to drive his pickup truck. He was going to drive a different pickup truck, and he wanted me to drive his pickup truck and follow him up there to bring stuff to the cabin. And first of all, I had never driven his truck before. I had never driven on that road before. And after a certain point, so it's paved roads until you get to I think it was a state park. But then you drive through the state park, and then it gets onto the dirt road that you then have to drive like another half an hour to 45 minutes to get to the cabin. And it's all switchbacks and stuff like that. And it had recently snowed, and the snows were melting, so the roads were mud. I'm like, are you just like, fuck? But
Sounds like
man
fun.
up. Yeah. It was fun. We survived. I'm here to talk about it. But yeah, my girlfriend was riding with me, and I'm just like taking it slow. Well, the one nice thing about it was, it wasn't exactly a 1-lane road. In some places it was, but it's like, it's not like you could get lost. There's only one fucking way to go. Like you just, he could go as fast as he wanted. I was going to take my time if I needed to, to get around the turns and whatnot. It's not like I said, I wasn't going to get lost. There's only one way to go.
Oh yeah.
All right. A time in your life when you felt exceptionally calm or safe or bliss. Again, cold in the dark, quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same place.
Anything else?
Yes, same thing.
Any other things pop out?
No? I guess so. Sometimes whenever when I'm just recording, I feel calm more so because it's just like there's sometimes when you hit that, what is it called? Liminal state? Not liminal.
Yeah.
Is that the correct term? Flow state. That's what I was looking for.
Oh yeah.
But it's when you hit that point of like an hour goes by and it feels like, no time has passed. And it's just
how I normally feel on these calls. Today, man, I can't fucking get my mouth to work. All right, so we're going to do this pair of questions again. Start with a negative so we can end on the positive. Do you remember the last person you hurt?
I guess one of my ex-girlfriends in a relationship.
Yeah.
Last thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But it was just we just broke up. Things didn't go well, and so we were both shaken up from it. Just usual.
Yep. Do you remember the last person you helped?
My sister yesterday.
Okay.
Helping out her and watch nephews.
Babysitting.
Yeah, can't relate.
So Chris spends most of his Saturdays.
It's fun to have a sibling with kids, because then you can go over and have fun time with the kids, and then when they're annoying or do
you get to leave.
things, you're like, I gotta go. Look at that time.
I gotta water my cat. I'll be.
See, what you need to do is you need to hold them over your head so they can put their feet
Exactly.
When she's not looking, and then she comes in later on, like, how the what?
Take the kids outside. Okay, get your feet dirty. We're gonna do something.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
and you don't tell your sister, so that you get the text later when you get home, like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then you say, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. What happened?"
See, I'm a few years into the uncle game now, and I have learned lessons like that, which is that all sounds fun and awesome, but then what that does is it introduces that option to the kids, and then when you're not there, they do things like try and put their footprints on the ceiling themselves, and
then break their neck. Yeah.
Well, where'd you learn it from? Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
Well, see, the problem is that you're waiting. You've waited too long. When you do that when they're a toddler, it's okay because they'll have forgotten about it by the time that they're old enough to hurt themselves.
Yeah, true. They're both too old for it now.
Yeah. Now they're old enough to remember it and go, oh, we should do the thing that we're probably not smart enough to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What movie have you watched more times than any other? And this could be over your entire life, any genre, not just horror.
I mean, I guess I would think. I guess the most recent thing I could think of is probably Dodgeball. Actually,
okay.
I watched that movie a bunch when I was. I even watched it last year. It was the most recent. That's one that's just stuck with me for a while.
Dodgeball forever.
God, it's so good.
I was thinking of basketball. No, Dodgeball. That's right, with
Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm. Vince Vaughn.
And Dodge a wrench. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5 Ds of Dodgeball. No, yeah, it's one that stuck with me for a while.
I could ask what you love about it, but I have a funny feeling I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's good, man. It's fun. It's
Let's see. Would you say that is your favorite movie, or would you pick a different one for your favorite?
No, I would think that my favorite is probably Alien. Come to think of it, okay. just the body horror of it's great. Okay. It's something I just keep going back to.
Do you have a least favorite movie?
The Room. Oh my god! I watched that a couple of years ago with my brothers because, okay, we like terrible movies. We're gonna try this one. Oh no, actually, I take it back. Birdemic, Shock and Terror. That's probably the worst. That one's pretty bad. It's hilarious, but
was Shock and Terror the sequel or the original one?
I think it was the original.
Okay, I mean they're both awful. Just I still can't believe they made two of them.
Ugh,
it's just as bad.
The CGI is hilarious. It's yeah, it was Birdemic, Shock and Terror. Okay, 2010. Good lord. Anyway,
I know, right?
That's nuts. Yeah, this is Lega's least favorite. I mean, it's hilarious, but still, I would not recommend anybody watch it.
So, other than the CGI, what else did you not like about it?
Oh, the acting is incredibly bad. The cinematography, the lighting. The music is not leveled, and and the sound effects are also not leveled.
It's almost like intentionally bad choices, and so many of them.
It's incredible. It's just he's ticking every box.
But yeah, the dialogue is just chef's kiss, man. Like, you are a very attractive and beautiful woman. If you were my wife, we would go to Hawaii every day. I think I should hire you for my modeling company.
Or 20 minutes of just him driving around in his car at the beginning of it. What the fuck?
And then another shot of him driving down the road. And this is the 23rd one. Are you sure?
Oh, dude. Yeah, no, it's funny, but don't watch it. It's just, you can do other things with your time.
It's I would say it is an educational tool they should show to everyone in film school.
Yeah, that's the rock bottom. You got to.
So oh crap! I can't remember what movie, Chris. Did you suggest there should be a drinking game where you take a shot every time a mic breaks falls into the screen?
the boom. Shit, what was that?
That's not so much important. What I was getting at is you can make a drinking game out of all the different things that they mess up in this movie.
You would die.
You would die 15 minutes in.
Yeah. It's fucking EMTs, alcohol poisoning again, huh? Right.
So
too intense. Sorry.
Here's what you do. Here, you do it with a group of friends, and what you say is, okay, person 1 drinks when there's a sound error. Person 2 drinks when there's a visual error. Person 3 drinks when... Right.
I like this, yeah. And by the end, like, depending on how many more there are...
Yeah.
This isn't fair. This movie has the worst audio ever. I'm shit-faced.
Do you see any common threads about what kinds of horror you like? Cannibalism, actually, we already answered this. Body horror.
Body horror.
Oh yeah, I love body horror. And eldritch horror is also fun. Like those interdimensional type stuff is super great. Mm-hmm. Very entertaining.
I'm sorry, I was still recovering from the last round of laughing. What did you say you talked about body horror?
That's like I do enjoy body horror. I was talking about interdimensional type horror and Lovecraft stuff, where it's very entertaining. I love that genre.
Do you think? How can I say this? The question the phrasing that I wanted to use was like, do these things speak to you in some sort of way? But I feel like there's probably a better way I could phrase that, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
I mean, about them you find intriguing.
Yeah.
I would think so. So I think of the sense that body horror to me is more terrifying than it would just be as in, like, say some, I don't know, a serial killer comes up and stabs you. Mm-hmm. I think of it as you are no longer in control of your own autonomy. If it's from like Alien, or if it's from Slither, or if it's something like that, that it's just it's going to be a long, painful, and terrible existence for just about most of it, as opposed to if you get you might get killed horribly from some serial killer, but at least it's
going to be over.
Yeah, it'll be over soon. They're quick. Yeah.
Well, for the most part, there's exceptions, but but I kind of think of it as just you lose complete autonomy and control of your body, and that shit is just incredible to me. It's just it's so fucking. What was it called? The Lagoon or something along those lines. There's one I watched a couple of years ago. There was something similar to that, but it's another body horror thing. It's beautiful. But yeah, there's a beauty. I think there's a beauty to that it's losing control of your sense of self and your motor functions.
Mm-hmm. And Lovecraftian.
The Lovecraftian stuff that I like to watch is if it starts to control your mind. Same thing. You lose control of what you're doing. I was going
to make that connection, but I didn't want to put it in your mouth. That was exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah, and same thing is you lose control of who you are and what you're doing, and completely losing all of your morality and just going to the bidding of some higher fucking being. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the Birdemic drinking game. Oh my God.
He's like, I'm going to try that now.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering how you would have to break it up to make it even. Because like Chris said, otherwise one person might get screwed. Although that might be the fun part.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like by the end, it's just known that there are so many bad aspects of it. You don't really know which one has more of which. So I think by the end of the movie, you would find out by who we have to call the EMTs for.
And long, terrible, lingering shots, and just shots that are completely useless, and things that go nowhere. And...
Look, guys, we got a charcoal kit on hand. It's fine.
I got the shop vac ready.
Too dark? Did I go too dark?
I was talking about vacuuming him a puke. What were you thinking?
Stomach pump? Homemade stomach pump?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Actually, that is what I was thinking, but I was misdirecting. Well, this would be the part where we talk about common themes that keep cropping up, and then maybe talk to you about why those are important to you. Loss of control has been coming up quite a bit for, I think, what I would say obvious reasons in terms of, body horror and Lovecraftian stuff. However, the thing that we haven't really touched on, it seems like this is almost adjacent, for lack of a better word. Like, the vibe that I'm getting is that there's a love for this, an enjoyment that is not fear-based or trauma-based. And there's a word for that I can't think of off the top of my head, where, either you're doing something because you love it, or you're doing something because you hate something else. And you're trying to avoid something. But for you, it seems more like there's an attraction towards rather than a push away.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the things that I have heard you say tied to that have more to do with things like the lore. However, we haven't dug into that too much because, and Chris has heard me say this a million times now, often when you get into being a creator, then there's a love for the creation of the art in more of a cerebral auteur sense, but that's not coming at it from a gut level in the same sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we often try to avoid that kind of conversation, or that part of the conversation, so that we can focus more on the gut aspect. But I feel like we've been missing something about this gut connection for you. And I think it might be more tied into the joy aspect of it, if that makes sense. Does that trigger anything that any thoughts you want to share on? Do you feel like there's something that we've been missing, or is?
The only thing I could think of is that I guess I took elements from those horror that I love and integrated it into my own creation now. But I would think that'd just be more passion and like you said, gut love for something. So I don't know if I wouldn't know that would really apply as much. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question.
Well, I can try explaining it this way. So, like, when you're talking about the things that you love, like body horror, a lot of people might have a gut sensation of revulsion, but also enjoying it because it's like, the roller coaster ride. And the vibe that I'm getting from you is that, not that there's no revulsion there, but it's maybe even minor compared to the enjoyment, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess I would think of it as there is revulsion to it, but that's the part that I think is intriguing, is that this is gross, but that's more so what I like about it. It's very off color, and that's I like that it's more it stands out to me more in that way, and it's more against the grain of what people might find comfortable. And I find comfort in that and enjoyment in that.
That rings a bell from something you said earlier in the call, but I don't think I made a note of it. You had said something about, it was either The Thing or They Live, that you mentioned that you liked that the fear felt different.
Yeah, I think it was from They Live, where it was a visceral kind of like feeling in my chest, where it was a different feeling from comedy or anything else. It went deeper for me than other movies had before.
More of a disquiet.
Not to dive into stuff that's maybe too personal, but
you're good.
The vibe that I'm getting off of that would be that might be something that would make sense if, for example, you felt as a kid that you were growing up in a pretty, I don't say bland environment, but like, I won't say overly safe either, but like, to use Chris as an example, one of Chris's big things is, for lack of a better word, rebellion. Saying, I want to do something crazy just for the fact of I want to do something crazy just for the fact of doing something crazy to shake the thing, shake things up. I want there to be this excitement. Did you feel like you had that kind of a maybe boring environment, that this was cool because it was something different from that? Or?
Oh, definitely. It definitely seemed like it was something that was, I was never really exposed to that kind of stuff really as a kid until I started. The only thing I could think of would be Alien, which is one that was one that I was not really allowed to watch, but I watched it anyway. Same thing with most of these, but it was one of those things that I wasn't privy to in that environment. And so it was different and it was new to me. There was a negative stigma towards it about like, there's terrible stuff. It'll affect you in adulthood. Don't do any of that stuff. This is bad for you. And I'm like, well, that's probably why I dig it more, is because there was such a stigma against it that I was like, I kind of enjoy this. I mean, I don't see any real issue with it. So I guess it would be against being that kind of more sterile environment.
I can partially relate with something you said there. When I was a kid, I had just discovered hip hop. Actually, it was like,
oh yeah.
And I had bought a cassette tape. This is how old it was. Bought a cassette tape from Albertsons, because those were still around. Brought it home and was playing it. And by the way, I was raised by my grandmother. So I was playing it on a tape deck near my grandmother because I didn't know what it was going to say. But whatever it said, she was so upset with it, she ran over and snatched the cassette tape out of the deck before I could even figure out what they had said. And I asked her, I was like, "Why did you take it?" She was like, "You don't want you listening to that shit." And I'm like, "Why? What did they say?" And she wouldn't tell me. And so now I was like, "Well, now I gotta know."
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
So I saved up my allowance money and I went back and I bought another copy of the tape. But this time I listened to it, far away from her. Figured out what they said. I'm like, oh, that's why she was angry. Yeah. There's a little secret pleasure there. Not, just, I don't even want to say secret pleasure because I didn't care so much for what they said, but it was, knowing that there was something there that I don't even say would get me in trouble, because I didn't think it should get me in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was something that I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to explore this thing, I'm going to have to do it on my own, because apparently I'm not going to be allowed to do that in front of my parents.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, I understand the same thing. It was very, I can't remember what it was. I think it was originally there was the thing. The reason I had seen the entirety of the movie in the first place was beforehand, our dad wanted to show us a quote unquote scary movie. And it was like a 40s movie of like a carrot that was black and white. It was like a carrot looking monster. And like, it was, but it's not really scary, really. It's just some, fun little thing. But he got the wrong tape. Instead of that, he got the original thing. And it's like the first 5 seconds. And he was like, what is this shit? You fucking took it out and broke the CD and was like, you guys never watched that, whatever. And then I watched it later because I was like, I am so fucking curious. What's it?
Yeah. Similar situation there. He may have stopped it at the time, but you saw just enough to pique that interest. That is funny though. Yeah, because I remember like the black and white one. You're right, guys. Basically like a Frankenstein carrot monster.
Yeah. What is that called? I was never able to find that. I was so curious.
Who Goes There? I think.
Is that what it is?
Maybe, or I think it was also called The Thing. That or A Thing from Another World. It's had many titles.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, that's been on my mind for a while. I was like, what the fuck movie was he meaning?
It's like a trick that I've always wanted to play it, but again, I think my niece and nephew are too old now. But pop in Frozen, and it says Frozen on the outside. And why are these kids stuck on a ski lift? Yeah, we're watching a different Frozen.
I remember that movie. I forget.
Look, Elsa's getting eaten by wolves. I don't like
this movie. Good way to make sure your sister never calls you for babysitting again. Yep. That was the plan all along.
Perfect.
So normally this is, as I said earlier, this would be the part where we would talk about, what you get out of horror, and then maybe talk about why those things are important to you. In your case, it seems like there's just a joyful experience. So there's no, you can't really ask, well, why are you happy? It's not a,
it's just like, it's a passion. It's just something that I like.
The one thing that we could ask is why horror, in the sense that do you find similar things in other genres, or is there something about horror that only speaks to you that in a way that other genres don't speak to you?
I guess the only thing I could think of that would be like close to it would be, I guess, thrillers. I mean, the one thing that I can think of that comes to mind is Night Stalker, the Jake Gyllenhaal, and that was a trip, and that's in a similar vein. But I guess a lot of genres don't really touch on the same. To me, don't touch on the same level as, say, horror would, or if it's, I don't really do as many slashers as more like, psychological horrors or something like that. But I guess it's more, no other genre hits that type of vulnerability that horror does. Like, some of them can do it terribly, and some of them, I've seen my fair share of horrible horror movies, but it's regardless if it's like, if the horror hit doesn't land, that it's still attempted to get a visceral reaction out of you, which I guess would be the same thing as like laughing, but I think of horror as more as deeper than just finding something funny or amusing, or just entertaining.
Yeah, it's a more visceral effect,
and I think that's what draws me to it more.
I guess one thing that we didn't ask, because you brought up vulnerability multiple times, and that aspect of body horror and Lovecraftian being where you're losing control. Can you think of any particular memories? How can I say this? Can you think of any particular memories where that was an important element of what you were experiencing in real life?
Oh yeah. Well, as a kid, I really didn't have a lot of control, and so it's just, I guess, growing into that and finding that vein through horror is more. Now I'm able to take control of what I'm doing and all that stuff.
Yeah, kids don't have a lot of agency in that regard.
Oh yeah,
makes sense. Well, really, last question: is there anything that you think is relevant that we haven't talked about or asked about, or maybe was there something you thought of earlier in the call that conversation turned and you didn't get to say?
I guess there's not really anything that I can think of at this time.
Okay.
I think we covered just about all that I was thinking about.
Well, we very much appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier in the call, we'll put together a bio page for you on our website and link to whatever it is that you want us to link to. Before we wrap it, do you want to let everybody know what you're currently working on?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on, excuse me, I have two new sequels for my flagship series, which are from On the Trail of the Vampire and from Threshold of Evil. And they'll be coming very soon. And there'll be new, maybe one of them is going to be like 10 hours. So watch out for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you talking about doing like 10 hours in one video, or is it going to be a series?
It's going to be about a 10-hour story. It'll be one story.
Oh, wow.
It'll be
You'll
fun,
be
man.
Editing this, right? Like not just doing it all in one 10-hour recording.
It'll take a while. It'll be a lot of chopping away at it, but it'll work out.
Sounds fun.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Is your video card going to have enough memory?
Yeah, it should be fine. It's fine. It was fine with the other ones. I did another 10-hour story last year, and I did about a 9.5-hour one just earlier. So it should be fine. I just make sure to recycle through so I don't lose space and storage.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. Crazy. All right. Well, like I say, we'll link to whatever you want us to link to. I'll get together with you offline about that. In the meantime, again, thank you. And thank you to anybody out there listening. Please do come check us out at horrormakesushappy.com. We've got our Linktree page on there. And from there, you can link to all kinds of other things. If you want to check out what Viidith is doing, you go to our episodes page and look for him on the guest list there. And in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, all the fun stuff.